It's finally time for my first Pokemon Draft League in the Indigo Disc. A Pokemon Draft League is where individuals known as coaches take turns drafting teams of unique Pokemon and battle each other weekly until one coach is crowned the champion. I just won SPL Season 1, and I won the Pokemon Premier League before that. So what could possibly stop me on this Season 2 of SPL? The answer, of course, is Stream Chat. You see, while playing the Kaizo Ironmon Challenge, Zav asked me on stream, Joey, how many hypothetical subs would it take for the round 1 Squawkabilly draft? I respond with 100 members, thinking I was safe because who could possibly pay that much for me to draft a round 1 Squawkabilly? Stream Chat. The answer is Stream Chat. Because right after, Zanny and Alistair both dropped 50 subs, and I was forced to get Squawkabilly round 1, which I took extremely well, I might add. Zanny dropped 50. Me. Thank you for the 50 gifts. Zanny, you're not even a sub right now. Stop it.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Wait, somebody has to draft now.
If somebody else drops a 50, I have to do a Squawkabilly round 1 as my SPL.
Oh.
And I'm about to lose Ironmon too.
Oh shoot.
I should have said higher. Do I have a level? No!
What did you do? Well, guys, I'm not getting sniped by Joey round 1.
Oh my god. Well, looks like I have to get Squawkabilly round 1. So while top tier Pokemon like Dragapult, Iron Valiant, and Darkrai were drafted before me, I stood alone with 2-point Squawkabilly. Squawkabilly hits incredibly hard with its Guts ability or even Hustle if it lands. While it doesn't have the greatest bulk, I can still live one hit due to Intimidate, and because I can use all 4 forms, I even have access to Sheer Force. With strong moves like Guts boosted Facade, Hustle boosted Brave Birds and Double Edges, and even Priority and Quick Attack, Squawkabilly might be doing more than you think this season, I hope. So I didn't get the ideal round 1 pick. Surely my round 2 pick had to make up for it. I had to get something very strong or very fast to match the power of everyone else's round 1 pick. That was the plan anyway, but the loyal Bandito hit me up with 50 members and said, nah, get Swampert. Swampert is by no means a bad Pokemon. It's a reliable ground water type that can set up Stealth Rock, Flip Turn Out, and even got buffed this generation with access to Knockoff. So I wasn't too mad about this pick, it just happened to be 2 or 3 rounds too early. But with that strong 110 base attack and Stab Earthquake, Liquidation, Bulk Up to raise my attack and defense, and a solid special attack stat with great moves to boot, its only downside is the fact it lost Scald and Toxic this generation. But I can live with that. Okay, we're in round 3. I can finally choose a Pokemon that I want to use. Chat did mess with one more of my picks, but you'll see that one way later. I was really surprised to see Cinderace still available in round 3. With its high speed and attack, with good Fire Stab and Pyro Ball, or moves like High Jump Kick and Gunk Shot which become Stab because of its ability, plus Court Change to be Hazard Control, Cinderace was sure to be a valuable member on my team. This is actually my second time drafting Cinderace, as I had it in the WBE, but it's my first time being able to use it in draft with its Libero ability. I wanted a Water Resist for my round 4 pick, and one of the best and even one of my favorite Pokemon was still available. Latios was a huge addition to my team. The ability to overwhelm Pokemon with powerful Draco Meteors and boost past bulky Pokemon with stored power sets made Latios a huge asset. It even got quite a few buffs that's going to make it a lot better in draft. Baton Pass is legal as long as we're not passing stats, so it becomes a switch move for Latios. Both Alluring Voice and Draining Kiss were added to Latios' kit, giving it more ways to deal with dark types. And it can be a great support for the team because of Healing Wish. For my next pick, I wanted a Breaker, something that was really hard for the opponent to switch into whenever it attacks. And the one I saw available won me the Pokemon Premier League 2 draft leagues prior. Lycanroc Dusk is back on the team. With strong Tough Claws boosted attacks in close combat and Psychic Fangs, fantastic stab and Stone Edge if it lands, another Stealth Rocker for the team, and most importantly, strong priority in a Accelerock. Lycanroc gives me another base 110 speed tier right next to Latios, which is really important in draft, because you want to force faster Pokemon to run plus speed natures so they are weaker. For instance, if I ever face a Meowscarada, it'd be forced to run Jolly Nature in order to outspeed both my Lycanroc and my Latias, or risk being outsped and KO'd. This works in my favor because it means Meowscarada will be hitting way weaker with a Jolly nature versus an Adamant one. I needed a Steel type left, and one of the best was still available. And while I could have picked up Heatran to run it for the 3rd Draft League in a row, I decided to go for a different approach in Scizor, granting me another strong priority user in Bullet Punch, the ability to defog away hazards, U-turn for momentum, and of course a very strong close combat. Scizor's biggest downfall this generation is that it lost Roost for recovery, but because my current team is more offensively based, I'm thinking it won't be a problem. I very much believe that in Pokemon Draft you should always have a grounded poison type, basically a poison type that's touching the floor so it can absorb toxic spikes, because no one wants to lose to your opponent setting them up. Last season I drafted Overqwil. This time we're trying out Hisuian Qwilfish, which got a nice buff in the DLC via Pain Split for recovery. Hisuian Qwilfish not only absorbs toxic spikes but can set them up alongside regular spikes, and also tanks hits better than Overqwil due to Eviolite. Stab, Bar, Barrage allows me to potentially poison the opponent 50% of the time, and if that doesn't work I can also just use Toxic. I also am not limited to just defensive sets, as it has just as much speed as Overqwil, albeit weaker, so Swords Dance sets are still viable. Next up I wanted an electric type to threaten bulky water, since I had no real way of knocking them out in one hit, and one was still available that I had some previous history with. Thunderous Therian basically won me SPL, so I had to get it back on the team for Season 2. It gives me a special breaker that threatens water types with Thunderbolt or Volt Switch, has Grass Knot for ground types, and other strong coverage in Focus Blast and Sludge Wave. I can use Nasty Plot if I want to boost, and have fantastic switch turns in U-turn and Volt Switch. And if I showed anything last season, it's that Thunderous Therian is not just a strong special attacker, but can be EV to tank very powerful hits. So I'm excited to see how it does this season. Ever since I saw Basculin pop off in Draft, I wanted it, especially since it's a 3-for-1 deal and you can use all forms. With Rockhead, I can spam Wave Crash without having to worry about recoil, while having Flip Turn for momentum. And if I'm using Basculin White Stripe, I can equip an Eviolite to make it harder to take down. I even have cool coverage moves in Psychic Fangs and Scale Shot, which I can use with Terra Dragon, but we'll talk more about that later. My 10th pick was a 4-point Grass type, which I believe to be one of the best. Arboliva hits incredibly hard with its base 125 special attack. If it's Seed, Soar ability, I can set up Grassy Terrain, not only healing my Pokemon, but weakening Earthquake versus something like Cinderace, while boosting my Leaf Storm and Giga Drain as well. It has Earth Power for Steel types. While I had Dazzling Gleam before, now you can use Alluring Voice to hit with the same power but confuse opponents if they try to set up. And if Random Battles has taught me anything, Harvest, Strength Sap, Leech Seed sets are very annoying to take down. I wanted a Fairy type for my 11th pick, and while I could have gotten Florges for Wish support, which admittedly would have been great with my team, I decided to try a different route with another Pokemon that I've drafted previously in Diancie. Diancie got quite a few buffs this generation, with Spikes, Baton Pass, and Encore. Diamond Storm boosting my defense and Body Press to take advantage of that is also a very strong combo. And I can use Calm Mindsets to be a strong special attacker as well. Remember when I said chat messed with me one more time? You see, my final pick was always predetermined, because Joe gifted 50 subs for me to get Dugong last, which I was more than happy to oblige. Joe, I'll add another 50 if you add Dugong too.
Oh, please. That's a good deal though, wasn't it? Isn't it Squawkabilly Dugong? That's a good deal. Say yes. Say you do it.
I'm really memeing this season.
Squawkabilly Dugong.
Okay, fine. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. For another
You heard
50,
it here.
for another 50, I'll draft the Dugong. It. I don't give. I already won twice. I don't give it. I need to support my
Alright.
family. Let's go. Dugong actually got an insane amount of buffs this generation in Knockoff and Flip Turn, and even moves like Triple Axle, Play Rough, Haze, and Alluring Voice. Unfortunately, with its base 70 attack and special attack, I'd be pretty surprised if it makes use of these new offensive options. But at least I can use Whirlpool Perish Trap. Now, this draft league does allow for 2 to 3 lower tier Terra Captains, Pokemon that were 9 points and under with some exceptions, and you have 15 Terra Captain points. So my first Terra Captain for the season is of course Squawkabilly, which I'll be running Terra Normal on for those guts boosted facades and hustle double edges, Terra Steel to hopefully live in ice or rock move, and Terra Ground to hit steel types while also avoiding electric type attacks. Basculin is my next Terra Captain, which will have Terra Water for strong wave crashes, Terra Grass in order to deal with water types, and as I mentioned earlier, Terra Dragon for scale shot. My last Terra Captain is Arboliva, with Terra Grass, Terra Fairy, and Terra Water. So that's my team for Season 2 of SPL. What do you think? Games will be uploaded every Sunday starting next week, the 21st. Make sure you check out every other coach in this season, as it's a legacy lead and we were able to revive some people that have not done draft in a long time. You can join the SPL Discord down below, and of course we'll be doing watch togethers every week like we did previously. Subscribe if you're excited about draft, and I'll see y'all next week with week 1. But of course an upload tomorrow like I do every day.